We are back with more Overwatch here in our France versus South Korean semifinals map. Our second of the day. Here on our fourth map, Watch Point Gibraltar. A map chosen by our South Korean squad after their defeat in Hanamura. Here on this is very, very likely the final chance for our French squad to pull ahead, start a reverse sweep against the South Korean squad, and move on to our grand finals map. The French team here today has been together for quite some time. Very early in Overwatch, they were together as a team called Rogue. And now here, though not all members have made it into the Overwatch League, this could be the curtain call for an amazing team that has done a lot for the scene. And as we push on to our South Korean attacking first here on Watchpoint Gibraltar, we might see a similar situation to what we saw yesterday with South Korea versus the United States, where South Korea just pulled out ahead and did their best to murder the U.S. squad here, winning it very handily. Now as we pull on to this push in, Flower is playing Widowmaker once again, and smartly France has backed into server room, not showing off their heads for Flower to pop. They're going to back up, only pop out in the last moments in order to keep themselves alive, but AKM shows a little bit too much as Flower takes them out with a headshot there, and with that kill down, the rest of the South Korean squad pushes in to France. And even though AKM was res back up, it was Wins who was killed by Zumba in that fight. And as the brawl continues, Rujehong here pushing up very forward, a very aggressive Ana play that we've seen from him. It's the rest of his team who does the kills, but it's that support from Jaehong that lays the foundation for them to push forward and get this first point very quickly here on Gibraltar. They will now have 5 minutes to push through the second point, and now several members, it seems, of France caught out in that forward spawn will be killed and give South Korea a little bit more meters on their payload. France now regrouping, trying again. They will have a Valkyrie ready for this next defense. Valkyrie, one of the most important ults in the games in this meta. South Korea will also have one of their own and will pop it here early in the fight. It's because Rujehong went down, killed by a pulse bomb there early. Toby pops that Valkyrie in order to get him back up and push forward. However, it is France who is collapsing in with a late Valkyrie of their own, cleaning up the members of South Korea. And now Flower, getting pressured there by the tanks of France, will back out, regroup with his team, and try for the next push. A successful defense there by France, using those support ultimates to their advantage and successfully collapsing in on South Korea here in this fight. Sabiolbe now looking for Soon, finds him to start out this next push. Sabiolbe very close to a pulse bomb of their own, will begin to push forward. Self-destruct comes out from Nico, but doesn't seem to catch anybody out. And a Transcendence used from Wins to try to keep the members of his team alive. Early in that fight, a pulse bomb does go out by Sabiolbe, but it doesn't do much to start off this fight, as France has successfully stalled out the members of South Korea once again. As I say that, Zumba comes up across the top with a self-destruct. 2 members, now 3, of France down. South Korea is now going to be able to push forward, clean up the remaining members, and get some more meters onto this payload as the last defending members of France go down. That very well may have been the fight to decide our second point, as South Korea pushes forward and doesn't actually get point B. Soon comes in, stalls it out there at the end. France is starting to come back. However, South Korea, with that foothold here in the hangar, is cleaning up the members of France and will gain the second point. Now 4 minutes on the clock in order to push into point C and end their attacking phase here on Gibraltar. And it looks like AKM is playing that Widowmaker, trying to pressure Flower. May see some nice Widow v Widow fights here from both teams, seeing who will be the best one out. Fight fire with fire, they say. That's what France is trying to do, but while they are thinking about the Widowmaker, Sabiobi comes by with the pulse bomb, takes out Unko and AKM, and the members of South Korea are able to dive in from there and push the cart forward still. Here's the flank by Sabiobi, looking for Unko there on the Mercy, finds him out, and Mercy, not being able to move too much in those tight quarters, is killed, as well as AKM, who is caught out by that pulse bomb as well. France has regrouped. They're coming back in. It's AKM who is killed by Sabiobi once more, not being able to apply the pressure there on to Flower. It is the tanks of France who are doing their best to put the pressure onto Flower on this Widowmaker at the end, and Jae Hong here doing his best to keep Flower and the other members of his team alive. There's a sleep dart. No, doesn't get it. AKM will stay alive. However, he is killed by Flower. The Widow v Widow fights are going in the favor of South Korea, as Nox is way in the back, forgets that he needs to stand on the point. And now South Korea very close, only a few meters away from ending this. It is France, who has a foothold here on the point, and they're doing their best to keep the members of South Korea off. Very low. Doesn't look like there will be anybody there to finish it out, and it's South Korea who very easily takes Watch Point Gibraltar away from the French squad. And as we move on here to our French attack, looks like we will have Flower now switching off of that Widowmaker, electing instead to use the Soldier 76. Using that, they're going to be able to push forward, hold a very forward position on defense instead of backing up almost to point A, as we typically see teams do. They're going to use that soldier to push a little bit forward, have a forward hold, and stop France even before they start. Is what I assume is their plan here on this first point. Here in the final moments, France is going to have to do just as good as South Korea here in order to pull away this win and keep up a reverse sweep, something so hard to do in Overwatch. Is in typical tournaments, you have to play on the maps that your opponent decides. So France will need to push forward all 3 points in order to keep this map going and stay alive in this game. Over France, with the composition they have, are looking to hold a very aggressive defense here on a Watch Point Gibraltar, keeping the members of France off the point, or off the payload, and away from the points. Here's that forward hold that they're trying to keep. France, however, is going to be running with a Widowmaker. AKM going to try to do his best to keep the members of South Korea at bay as they push on to their next fight. Here we go. They are coming in. AKM is on that soldier, not onto the Widowmaker. And they're moving onto the point now. AKM doing his best to try to take Jae Hong early in this fight. Doesn't manage to do so, and a deep dive by Zumba is followed up. Unko and Wins taken down. If this is the way that this map keeps going, then France is going to find themselves in a tough position. AKM trying to keep Sabiobi at bay, who has been such a thorn in his side this whole match, is taken down by Flower, who is behind him getting that flanking position. Now on to our next fight. The respawns have come in for France, and they're doing their best to try to push off the members of South Korea from the point, diving the high ground, trying to find Flower there. It is Nox who was killed early, followed by Wins and AKM, taken down once again by Sabiobi. Very close to spawn, however, so they don't have much of a distance to travel here. But now, as we start off, South Korea with 3 of their ultimates ready to go. France only has 2. They could get 4 here onto their next push, but they're facing down such an amazing defense here with the South Korean squad. Flower pops that tactical visor, doesn't really get anything from it, just keeping the members of France at bay. They're trying to waste as much time as possible. Now, a Transcendence is popped from the French squad to push forward through the car wash and forward to go on to this next point. Mono is deep into enemy territory, trying to find the supports. It gets very low, showing at 13% there. But it's Unko who takes down Toby. Without that healing, this is going to be hard for South Korea to hold. Jae-hong responds in kind with a Transcendence, one that he had built over the course of that fight. And now South Korea is starting to clean up the members of the French squad as Nico is killed and Mono is looking for wins. Finds him out there in the underpass and is pushed back the French squad. AKM taken down once again by Sabiolbi. He's using that Widowmaker to try to get these long shots onto the members of South Korea, but Sabiolbi is doing such a great job of pressuring, keeping the pressure onto AKM, that the tanks don't need to pressure the Widowmaker. Sabiolbi's doing the job all by himself. AKM now switching over to that Soldier 76. He's going to try to stay with his team here in the final moments of Watchpoint Gibraltar, as we only have a minute left in this fight. Nico is demeched to start it out, and once again, Flower uses a tactical visor to clean up the members of France. 2 down already, as Jae-hong is searching for Soon in the back. Soon very low, discorded, and trying to find his kill. Oh, no, we're not going to see it. Flower, here's the tactical visor from Flower, pushing into the members. That Winston bubble getting killed so quickly with that tactical visor and the focus fire from the rest of the South Korean squad. That's the cleanup that we saw. 3 members down from that ultimate. And now, with only 30 seconds left, France is going to have to apply the pressure here with the Valkyrie that they have and the Primal Rage in order to take this point. They're trying to reverse dive now, counter dive onto the dive from South Korea. Got Zumba there at the end, who popped a self-destruct, and now they're going to try to push forward onto this fight. Wins and Unko have their support ultimates. Using those, Unko just popped the Valkyrie. They're going to push forward onto this point. A Transcendence also popped from Wins. They have the reses now ready to go. AKM is getting bullied in the back by Mono, but it's the members of South Korea who are falling. Reses did come out for South Korea, but it doesn't seem as if it was enough, as the members of France are pushing forward onto this point, keeping the pressure onto them, and it's Flower who falls in the very end as France takes the first point and now needs to push onto second very quickly in order to keep time with the South Korean squad. They're already doing so as AKM gets the pulse bomb there very late in the fight onto Sabiolbi. Watchpoint Gibraltar hangar phase is not a phase that it is expected to defend. It is so difficult for the defending team to do a counter push back into the attacking team once the attacking team gains a foothold here on the point. With that high ground and only 2 doors to come in through, the defending team has a tough time getting in. So France now just needs to get their foothold, create the space for themselves, and get the kills onto the South Korean squad in order to start this off. Soon starts it with a pulse bomb, takes out Flower. He is rezzed, but Toby is killed for it. And though the trades are coming out from both sides, oh, a late kill onto the AKM there. It is France who is coming out ahead with a Transcendence late into that fight to keep the team alive. Nox is searching down the remaining members of the South Korean squad who are going to collapse here. Nox very, very, very deep push there. Oh, a great flashbang onto the Primal Rage. It's not enough to stop it. And now with only a few meters to go, AKM hits that tactical visor to try to put the pressure down onto the members of South Korea. But it's Sabiolbi once again who takes him out, ends his day. And now the members of France are starting to fall. 3 members down already as South Korea is gaining their foothold. This could be it for the French squad if they don't pull out ahead and keep this pushing forward. It is Knox there in the end by himself, followed by Unko, who are killed in the last seconds of that fight. Now with only 30 seconds left, France has one more push, and the ultimates on both squads here are only pulse bombs. This pulse bomb could decide, these pulse bombs could decide the fate of this entire series. As soon as going to have to get something big. We've seen him do it before, killing Toby out early in Hanamura. He's going to try to get the health pack away from Sabiolbi and find a kill out onto here. His pulse bomb is eaten, however, by Zunbo with a great defense matrix, and instead of trying to keep the engagement up, he moves onto the points in the final seconds, starts that overtime clock, and now soon is getting the kill. Zunba falls first, and it's his play there, deciding to disengage away from the tanks of South Korea, that has made this fight possible for his team. They grabbed the second point and now have started to move on to the third point here. They could take it away now, as that pulse bomb, even though it was eaten by Soon, disengaging away from those tanks and onto the point instead, forcing a counter-offensive almost from South Korea as the members of his own team were ready to go, forcing them to push onto the space that they had created for themselves, really won out that fight for the French squad. And now we're moving forward towards the last point. There's a self-destruct out from Zumba that finds AKM. It's not Sabiolbi this time. It's Zumba with that self-destruct. And now 3 members of France have been taken down, especially Unko. It's really going to stop this fight out. Only 30 seconds once more. France has one more push to keep this snowball rolling down the hill and towards victory. But they have to get on the point. They move off the point there, trying to find the members of South Korea. But they've gotten onto the point now. South Korea keeping in spawn, trying to regroup together and push on to this point. Flower now, as a Reaper, is using this tight quarters where France has to push into to his advantage, using those Reaper shotguns there. It's France now with the advantage, getting those kills. However, the respawns come in so quickly from South Korea. Flower is taken down. However, AKM is found out again by Sabiolbi. We have Valkyries out on both teams, getting the reses up for their respective DPSs, and a Transcendence from South Korea will keep the team alive. A Transcendence from France as well comes out. It's a battle of the ultimates here in the final moments, but it's Flower who are getting the kills. A Death Blossom comes in, takes out several members of France, and that might be it for this game. Overtime clock has already started and is going down. It is South Korea who wins out this series and will be going to our grand finals match here at the Overwatch World Cup.